Okay. Okay, so clearly we cannot play MapleStory. We cannot pick MapleStory. We cannot play MapleStory. Or my stream is gonna crash. Or my stream is always gonna crash. Do I want to risk it? Do I want to risk it? I don't know, guys. Do I want to risk it? Risk it? Oh. Reboot the MapleStory server. Do it. Let's see if I can close anything else. Kakao Talk. Okay, I mean, I can quit that. Risk it for the biscuit? Fine. Let's risk it. Whatever. YOLO. Okay. Attempting to open MapleStory yet again. Okay, what if I tried closing Firefox? Okay. I'll close Firefox. Maybe I'll open Spotify. Maybe that'll be less harsh on the PC. How much memory are you using if you check on Task Manager with MapleStory up? Let me see. 49%. OBS uses the most. Let it open up Maple first. It's open. Okay, 50%, 50%. You could also just sing first without any backup music. I could. Be very cringe. Oh, 53% memory. What I would give for a proper working PC that does not crash. What I would give. Okay, 55% memory. 56% memory. 57% memory. Yeah, it's hovering around 58% memory. Okay, you know what? I could just play MapleStory music. Yep, 58% memory. Maple and OBS. It's OBS taking up most of the memory. I don't actually have Twitch open. I have Twitch closed. Total again, right now it's 57% memory. How about CPU? 63% CPU. It's like, I just want to have a browser open and MapleStory and OBS. How much system RAM are you running? Where does it say? Where does it say the RAM? Oh, my PC RAM? Yeah, 16 gigabytes. How powerful a PC do you need to stream and play games? Probably not that powerful a PC, really. Just mine is really shit for some reason. Geralt War Hammer Knight. Task Manager? I'm on Task Manager, Yoruboons. I don't know what else I can do. Get a better graphics card, maybe? Are you running SSD or HDD? I'm pretty sure I'm running an SSD. Oh, MapleStory music is intense. It's really intense. if whenever I crash and then you just stay on the page, like, do you have to refresh it? Or does it just come back automatically? You have to refresh it? It's automatic? Yeah, this is MapleStory music, guys. Honestly, there's some really banger tracks on MapleStory. Well, so when you're on mobile, you have to refresh. I see. Well, anyways, so back to the scenario. Let me just describe it from the start. So, have you done a clean Windows OS install before? I factory reset my PC a couple months ago. I don't know if that meant it was a fresh Windows OS install before. Probably gonna get a tech friend to look over my computer for me and see what can be done to change things. Anyways, so there's this girl who has to pick between two boys, right? First boy we'll call Jimmy. The second boy we'll call Tyler. Okay. So they're very, very different personalities. Okay. Yes, okay, so Jimmy is the wholesome boy. Jimmy is a good boy, okay? Jimmy would go the extra mile for this girl, okay? Jimmy risked his life to drive this girl somewhere she had to be, okay? You know, Jimmy's like the hard worker, okay? And Tyler is the bad boy. Yep, Tyler is the hot, handsome, douchey bad boy, okay? And this dude is this girl is trying to pick between these two guys, okay? And so, you know, Jimmy did all of that. Jimmy like went out of his way to be sweet to her. Meanwhile, the other dude, Tyler, all he did was he left her a voicemail saying, "Hey, I'm in your neighborhood. You want to chill sometime?" Okay, and the girl was like, because this girl's standards for this Tyler dude is so low, she was like, "Oh my god, a voicemail? That's so fucking sweet." Right? Even though this other guy risked his life for her, but you know, the standards are just different, you know? Tyler's cute, Tyler's handsome, you know, Tyler's got the looks. Jimmy's also not bad, to be honest. Jimmy's also not bad. Okay? Yeah, so this girl was swooning for Tyler, the douchebag, all because he left the voicemail for her, okay? Let me tell you how much of a douchebag Tyler is. Tyler invited her to a dinner date, right? She dressed up all nice for it. When she got there, there were two of Tyler's friends there as well, and they had chips. They were gonna, eat chips and play video games. That was his idea of a date with the girl, and it was so awful. It was so awful. So you see, the bar is in hell for Tyler. Meanwhile, there's this other dude. Like, he's so sweet. He's so kind, so sweet, so nice. And it was just so annoying to watch. It was just so annoying to watch because I've seen this like happen in real life too. And then it got me thinking about my standards for people. Because there's some people whose standards I set very, very low. And when they do like the bare minimum, I get so impressed by it. And I was only made aware of this because I talked to a friend about it, and my friend was just absolutely appalled that I had standards like that. And I'll explain. I have to check if my screen is crashing at all. Okay, but here I'm going to show you a really nice map with nice music. Oh, I love this. I love this music here. Turn it up for you. So, yes, keeping in mind this is high school, so I mean, it kind of makes sense that the girl would be like this. Like if it were me, obviously I'd choose Jimmy. I'd obviously choose, you know, the better dude, the more dedicated, hardworking guy, right? Okay, but I'm not in high school. I'm not in high school, and the people that I interact with are not in high school and shouldn't be acting like they're in high school. So growing up, and a lot of you guys know this already, a lot of you guys know that growing up, I had a bit of a rough upbringing. Never really received a lot of kindness, a lot of, you know, gestures of love. So I guess when it comes to standards for people, my standards are probably a little bit lower than some others who might have had a better childhood. But my standards, my friend made me realize how much I need to fix my standards, because, for example, someone could do something so horrible, like kick my dog and insult my family, and then afterwards they would like buy me flowers, and I would think, oh my god, that is so sweet. That is so sweet of you. Like, somebody actually got me flowers? Oh my god. Like, they thought about me when I wasn't there, and they got me flowers? Oh my god. Like, I would be swooning. I'd be swooning, okay? Because nobody ever got me any flowers, like, when I was younger. Nobody gave me that kind of attention. Nobody, like, gave me gifts. So, you know, I told my friend, and my friend was like, what the hell? What the hell? Like, what the hell, Misa? Where are your standards? You know, they were like, dude, you can buy yourself flowers. You know, like that Miley Cyrus song, like, I can buy myself flowers. And I was like, you know what? You kind of have a point. You have a point. You have a point. You know, why am I being so impressed by, like, the most little tiny things? But, you know, like, I have to build my standards from somewhere, and based on what I was used to in life, this is what I ended up with. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they're doing the bare minimum. How thoughtful of them. How thoughtful of them. Like, wow. My expectations for human beings are so low that doing the bare minimum counts as being a great person. Kicking dogs is pretty sweet. Calling PETA. I guess it's the expectations we have for them. Like, them exceeding our expectations makes us go, wow, didn't know they could do that. I'm impressed. Even though it's a bare minimum. Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's what you're used to from that person, right? But it got me thinking how it's important to not let those impressive actions distract us from what's really important. Like, do not pick Tyler the douche just because he left you a voicemail, okay? It's impressive for his standards, but not impressive in the general scheme of things, okay? And sometimes I get lost in that. Sometimes I get lost in just being so impressed by the bare minimum that I think, oh my god, like, this person means so much to me. When really, it's no. Like, just need to take a step back and realize what is going on here. Another way to look at it is that you appreciate little things, which is not a bad thing at all. That is true. That is true. Except it's problematic when the person buying you flowers is just a toxic person in general, and you should not even be surrounding yourself with people like that just because they bought you flowers. Because you know what, they could kick your dog again and insult your family at any time. That's how I look at it. She falls for Tyler because in her mind Tyler can have anyone he wants, but he picks her. That's all it is, really. Ugh. It's a very high school way of thinking. It's all for validation then in that case. It's not about the person, it's about feeling validated yourself, right? And the fact that nobody guessed what show this is goes to show that nobody watches the show on Netflix besides me. And that's okay. And that is okay. Let me go to a different map. Did the girl end up going for Tyler? I'm still in the middle of watching. I don't know who she picks in the end. But all her friends want her to pick Tyler because he's hot. Not even that hot in my opinion, really. I feel that though. I think it's probably due to the fact we're used to and expect people to do anything, to do nothing for us. When someone does literally anything, it makes our brain happy, whether it's friends or something romantic. Yeah, and I think it just comes from a little bit of a scarcity mindset, just assuming, oh, like nobody in this world is gonna do anything for me. Just kind of very being used to that kind of energy, which is what I'm very used to. I'm very used to that. Just I assume by default that nobody in this world ought to care for me unless I do something for them. And a lot of other unhealthy things that I believe, which I'm trying to unlearn. Is the show Heart of Darkseid? No, the show is called Never Have I Ever. Never Have I Ever. And it's a guilty pleasure. It's not that great of a show, honestly, but it's entertainment for me in the background while I play MapleStory. No one buys food for me. Any suggestions for food I should buy? Bread! No one buys food for you? Well then, I have a solution for you. Whether you can cook or not, HelloFresh is a wonderful solution to all your cooking indecisions. Okay, HelloFresh is a grocery delivery service, okay, where you get to choose the meals that you want to eat for that week, and they go straight from the farm to your house, fresh. Okay, with my code, use my link, or use my code, what is it? POGHF31893 for 21 free meals plus free shipping. Okay, so use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use that code. And it's honestly very delicious. I highly recommend it, guys. At least try it and let me know what you think. It's in the US only, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a service that saves you money. It's fresh, convenience. It's cheap. It's delicious. Honestly, like, why not? Why not? And you get a code for a discount, 21 free meals. Why not? So yes, Brad, I hope that that answers your question. Does the cow walk to my home all fresh? Sometimes yes. Sometimes yes. If you're lucky. So anyways, I bring up that topic because a lot of things I consider problematic in life are problems because I'm afraid either to let go or try something new, or I'm settling for people who I shouldn't settle for. It made me think about how I was settling for companionship sometimes. Literally just setting for the bare minimum. Companionship. I'm not, like, they're not giving me anything but just companionship. And I decided, you know what? I think I deserve better. So I'm gonna go out and get better. I've been working on that. But in the past, I used to very much just think, okay, this is like the best I can get. That's all I deserve. I'm not going to ask for anything else. It's a crime to stream this game and cut off your EXP bar? Oh, you're right. Let me put that back. MapleStory. You can barely see it. You can barely see it. I'm 256. You're not going to see anything at this point. Oh, there it is, cutting it off again. Okay, you know what? We're gonna settle for this. We're gonna settle for this. There. Okay, okay. You're 271? Lou will carry, please. Okay, what's next on my dailies? Befuddled spirits. Literally just ran tonight. Carry me next week. I need my arcane gear. I only have one piece, the gloves. I need my I need my weapon. You like turn-based games? Not really. Not really. I'm not much of a gamer. Mostly because I couldn't afford games when I was younger. So I made my own entertainment through my imagination. So I'm very particular with the kind of games that I play. Who needs arcanes when you can have Empress gear? Empress gear? Yeah, no, I'll take my arcanes. Down bad for drops. Been trying to get a slime ring on a mule for 6 weeks now. I don't even have a slime ring on my main. Then again, I only came back to Maple like 2 months ago. Misa, hear me out. You deserve better. Yeah, it was not until I talked to one of my friends that I realized, like, they changed my whole perspective. I was like, oh, you know, like, I feel upset because of this and that. And they're like, well, just, like, so why don't you just, you know, stop settling? I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Like, what does that even mean? And then my friend was like, you know what? Like, your problem is that you're setting the bare minimum for your standards. Like, your bar is in hell. So you're gonna, you know, you're gonna get the kind of treatment that, you know, you will settle for. And yeah, sometimes I settle for being treated like shit. Because, one, I want to see the best in people. Two, my standards are just so low, so low. Running Black Mage Thursday. Oh, carry me through Black Mage. Okay, what else? 200 Weekend Dreamkeepers. Oh, 200 Balalith. This music's nice though. I know personally I'll tunnel vision on people that aren't that great because I'm more scared of losing them and having nothing than opening my eyes and looking for something better, having something better. Because in my mind it's just unrealistic to find better. I've gotten a lot better at it. You use the word better a lot. Just it'll make me gaslight myself into thinking certain people are way better than they actually are. Definitely. And I bring up this point not even just for myself. It's... Let me see. Okay, when you care for somebody, right? When you really care for someone, whether it's a friend, a partner, a family member, right? And you see them going through something that hurts them, you would want to pull them out of that situation, right? Just naturally, you don't want to see the people that you care about get hurt or suffer. Okay? And sometimes that suffering comes in the form of settling for bare minimum. Which is, honestly, what I've been doing. But it's very hard. It's very hard to make people realize that they deserve better. They have to want better and think they deserve better, right? So that is a very tough conversation to navigate. Because, like, just because you think they deserve better doesn't mean that they'll believe it themselves or they think they will be able to have better just because they deserve it. Friendly reminder to appreciate little things, but not let that overpower the red flags you should run from. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, give people chances, but don't do it at your own expense, you know? Don't do it out of a fear of not having anything like this ever again or just a scarcity mindset. Give people chances out of your own generosity and kindness, but not because you're scared that you'll never find anything as good as this again. I think when it's that form of forgiveness, it's... I don't know, it's kind of unhealthy. I used to be the same way. I don't settle now, but I noticed that I just don't open up or I close a lot of people off. Like, there needs to be a balance. Some say my standards are way too high now, so I don't know. Like, first my standards are low, now they're too high. Well, the thing is, whoever's below your standards is gonna think your standards are too low. Have you seen After Sun? I have not seen After Sun, no. Maple music making these speeches more impactful. This is a really beautiful map too. Let me take you somewhere else. Where can I take you? This? What is this place? Eh. This place is kind of pretty. It's a balancing act though of wanting more, but you also don't want to discount what you already have. Yeah, it's basically a gamble. It's a little bit of a gamble, but life is a gamble. I don't understand the scaling for this game. You're doing 700 million damage per shot. Yep. My range can go up to 25 million when I'm fully buffed. Right now it's up to 13 million, and it's a lot of multiplicators. Yeah, I'm sort of in the mid-end game now of Maple Story, so I'm very, very strong. So yes, it was natural for me to be doing like up to 1 bill per attack. Sometimes people feel like they've invested too much time to someone and don't want to waste it even though they deserve better. Isn't that the sunk cost fallacy? It's like you just simply don't want to let go of something because of the amount of time and effort that you spent on it already, even though letting it go of it will be better for you in the long run. Right? That was only point 1 that I wanted to say. My favorite thing is anytime I try to tell myself my standards for people are too low, I'll gaslight myself into thinking I'm actually trying to set them too high and I'm being unrealistic. Only after several friends told me I deserve better did it finally start to click. Yes. Like when you are in that bubble, of comfort, like when you're comfortable with that bubble of people and it's just like an echo chamber, right? It's very hard to realize that what you're settling for is the bare minimum and you deserve better. It's only if you have somebody outside of that bubble there to, you know, give you a dose of their reality, that's when you realize, oh, like, I can do so much better. Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the sauce. It is. I couldn't remember the words. Yeah, it's the sunk cost fallacy. Basically, when you've already invested so much time into something, or money, or effort, and just because of that, you don't want to let it go, even though letting go is objectively the better option. Is nerf or nothing? Yeah. That's the dangerous thing about getting comfortable somewhere. And my friend told me that too. Like, once you're comfortable, that's a danger zone. Once you're comfortable, you'll never want to change things. Okay, so don't get comfortable. I'm telling this to myself too. Don't get comfortable in a place where you're not happy. Don't just like lower your standards just so that you can be comfortable where you don't really want to be. I'm telling that to myself and anybody who needs to hear it. Ooh, turn into my quests. Like, literally some of my friends, I see them in situations, whether, like, at their job, you know, or in, like, various situations, I just think, like, in my eyes, you can do so much better. You're so capable of it. You just need to get out of that comfort zone and just try it. But then they're like, oh, but I don't want to change things, you know, like, you know, I like exactly where I am. And then, you know, they think they're happy, but I know they're not. Or there's times they'll come to me and I can tell they're not happy. But because they're so comfortable and they're so settled in that place, you know, they don't want to change anything. Can you speak to a friend of mine? She loves getting comfortable in unhappy situations and blaming the world. Yeah, throw her my way. Send her to my stream. I will talk to your friend. Some people get too comfortable with someone they don't really like and have kids with them. Yeah, all because they're afraid that they won't find anybody else. They think, oh, this is the only person in the world who's ever going to love me. And even if they're kind of shitty, you know what? I'll take it. I'll settle for it. And it's really sad to see, especially if, like, from my perspective, you can do so much better. Like, I know what makes you happy. You know what makes you happy. You've told me what makes you happy, and this is not it. So like, why settle in such a sad place? Like, why have kids with someone who you don't really love? It's messed up. It's messed up. The kids are not gonna be happy either. Music's so epic. Depreciation is also a thing, and a good reminder that even if there was initial investment, it doesn't mean you are stuck with it forever if it is depreciating. Cut your losses instead of continuing it into the ground. Yep, cut your losses. Like, forget the time and effort you put into it. Like, it is at this point, like, every moment of your life is the beginning of your new reality, whatever you choose for it to be. Okay, so if you just keep choosing to go down this depreciating path, like, you're not gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. I also knew a couple who were engaged for 10 years and never got married. Another couple who just got engaged after 10 years? Wait, that confuses me. Ah, okay, I got it. Engaged for 10 years but not get married? I feel like after the first few years, I'd already be questioning, like, hello? Where's the ring? Like, when are we getting married? Okay, I have to somewhat pay attention to this. Because I can't die here. And you know what? I think the main blocker to all of this is just fear. Is it not? Is it not fear? It's fear of not being able to get anything better than what you have now. Or even come back to this spot. Also, I'm curious, guys. Would you enjoy it if I just played in silence and didn't speak the entire time? Like, what if I just played like this and didn't talk at all? So to watch. I'll listen to it twice. While checking in. Cozy stream. As long as you have the playlist on, we good. Let me... I hate my PC. I put you on my side monitor while I played a game, so it'd just be like we're playing next to each other. Okay. Moving on to topic number 2. Does anybody in chat identify as a people pleaser? In any shape or form? Hands up. Hands up. Yes? Yes? Okay, in what way would you say that you're a people pleaser? And why do you identify as that? In what way would you say you're a people pleaser? Because there's different forms of it. Thanks for the resub, Joit. I am probably a people pleaser, but I try to deny it. Is it that you'll always say yes to everything they ask? Or is it just that you'll, avoid conflicts when you can? Like what makes you a people pleaser? I prioritize other people's needs over my own. Even if it's unhealthy. I was worried about what everyone would think and would try to win their approval, even if it meant denying myself opportunities. Took a bit of time to learn it's okay to be selfish. Okay, so Cowboy Mage says he's a people pleaser because he tried to earn their approval. I think that is a common factor in why you would deny yourself of your own opportunities to please someone else's instead. Hi, Lotus. I am doing very well. Conflict averse. I used to be because I wanted terrible people to treat me better, but then I realized I deserve better and shouldn't try to make them happy when they treat me terribly. I'm okay with people doing me wrong and I'll still be, that's fine, it's not your fault, just so they don't feel bad. And why? Why do you not want them to feel bad? Even if they did you wrong. Like, you're the one who's hurt in this scenario, so why? Genuinely so curious. I have to get some rest, but saw you were on. I had to hop in. Thank you for dropping by, Lotus. I appreciate it every single time. Every time you come back, I'm just like, hi, Lotus. I need people to like me, and the thought of people being unhappy with me makes me extremely uncomfortable, and I have a constant desire to make people happy, and I'll say yes and agree to almost anything and prioritize other people over myself, even when it's not unhealthy. Why do you need people to like you? You said, I need people to like me. Why do you need people to like you? Why do you need them to be happy? Outside my family, yes. Within my family, never. I'm usually complacent because I like to avoid conflict. I've had enough with family drama. Thank you. Empaths can be affected by the negative feelings of those around them, so it can be detrimental to the empath to be an ass to others. I get if it's like a physical reaction. If you're an empath, I get that. I'm curious for those of you who don't react the same way, why you're like that. I don't like it when people feel bad because of me, or just the thought of them getting mad because of me. I can't accept it, so it's better that I'm the one in pain. What does it feel like when other people feel bad because of you? Do you feel like you're a bad person for doing that to them? Do you feel like you're unsafe because now they feel bad because of you? Do you think they're gonna leave you because they feel bad because of you? I wanna know. I'm gonna go back to this map because I really like the music here. Oops, not this place. I'm gonna go here. I don't know, that's why I got a therapist. That's just how my brain is. The discomfort I feel when people are unhappy or something with me is like crippling, and sometimes I'll just shut down. Interesting. And I relate to a lot of you in what you're saying. I do. But I'm trying not to be that way, and I don't want to be a people pleaser. I don't. I love the real talk that happens here. Yeah. Because where else are you going to talk about it? How often are you going to find friends or people in real life who you can have these kind of conversations with? Like, it's hard. It's hard. It really is. I'm a people pleaser to my family, but too much at times, and it can be bad, but it's family. I feel like when it comes to family, it might be a little bit different because I feel like maybe you were just raised in that way. You're like Pavloved to be that way. If people who treat me well feel bad or get upset because of something I did, then I end up hating myself. Do you feel guilty? Do you feel guilty like you let them down? I guess it's more of, I don't want people to have this kind of mindset that I'm not good. I'm obsessed with having to look like this perfect girl with the perfect personality. And what if you don't have this perfect image? Do you think people will just leave you? People will not stay by your side? People will not be loyal to you? People will not do things for you anymore? I've put down my needs for so long that I ended up thinking that sacrificing my needs isn't that big of a deal, just built up slowly over time. The Pavlov effect. Trying to live a bit more selfishly now. I think as kids, if we were ever punished as children for acting in any way selfish, even when it's valid and justified, that could very easily turn us into adults who are afraid to do anything for ourselves. But then comes the idea, are you being a people pleaser for others or is it for yourself? Are you people pleasing for others' benefits, for their good, or are you doing it for yourself at the end of the day? Is it for yourself? Is it a selfish motive at the end of the day? Like, a friend could be mad at me and the situation is 100% the friend's fault and not mine, but I'll still feel guilty and do everything I can to resolve the conflict, even if it means basically admitting to things that aren't true just to resolve the conflict and please the other person. Because I'd rather the conflict be over and the other person be on good terms with me again than be in the right in the conflict. But what if it's that person's fault objectively and you shouldn't have a friend like them? By being friends with them, you're subjecting yourself to the possibility that this is going to happen over and over and over again. Damn, that got deep. For me, it's family, so it's for others and not for me. Yeah, I see, when it comes to family, I think it's a little bit different. If it makes me feel good to help others, am I doing it for me or for them? I think if you're doing these things, if you're people pleasing for others to feel good rather than to avoid feeling bad yourself, then I think it comes from a place of, it's more altruistic that way. But I think if you are people pleasing simply just to avoid feeling a certain way yourself, I think the motive might not be as like, oh, it's for you, not for me. I think in that case it's more for the people pleaser. I was a people pleaser once, now I'm still polite, but I've had some really hard years where most people just turned a blind eye and disappeared from my life, so now I realize that working too hard to make everyone else happy first is a destroyed active habit, one that can be born of a lack of self-care or self-acceptance. It's not always the case, but this is my experience. I agree. I asked this question. I asked you guys, like, who's a people pleaser? Who identifies as a people pleaser? And in what way do you identify as that? Like, in what way do you think you're a people pleaser? Because when it comes to people pleasing, right? It comes in a lot of different forms. There's not one, like, archetype for being a people pleaser, right? And so I wanted to make that distinction before I went into it, in that if I talk about something, it's about a specific kind of people pleaser. It's about an unhealthy kind of people pleaser, in which you're doing things out of fear rather than generosity or kindness or whatever, or wanting someone else to feel good. If it's coming from a place of fear and avoidance, I think that's extremely unhealthy for all parties. And I think it's important to distinguish that there's a lot of different types of people pleasers, because some are genuinely good people. They're doing it because they care more for others than for themselves, and I think that's wonderful. I think if it's genuine, that makes them an amazing person. But I don't think there's just one type of people pleaser, and it depends on your intentions and your motives. And so some people might think, oh, I'm a people pleaser. I'm kind, I'm nice, I'm a good person because I'm a people pleaser. And I don't think that's always the fact. I don't think that's always the case. And I wanted to talk about that because it doesn't get talked about. Nobody ever talks about this. Hi, Scoopty Boopty. Your name's so cute. Don't like disappointing and letting other people down, so I try to be perfect. And that's going to be hard on yourself. That's, in a way, unkind to yourself, I would say. I'm not friends with these people anymore. I learned and grown from it some, at least. I'm still worried if something similar happens again, I do the same thing, so we'll see. How do you get over people pleasing if it comes from fear? Ooh, hold on, I gotta go into this portal. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Yoda. My homie. Okay, this is a mini game that just randomly spawns near map, and it gives me a lot of EXP, so I'm doing it. Sweet. Thank you for the prime sub, Gage. Okay. And I will elaborate on why I think people pleasing can be toxic for both party members, like both parties involved, even when you don't realize it. Well, let me go somewhere else. Because, like, when you aim to people please, okay, to what extent will you go to ensure that the person does not get upset? Like, to what lengths will you go to? And are those lengths justified because your intention is, I don't want the other person to feel hurt? Or maybe it's not even that's your intention. Maybe you just want to avoid conflict because you don't like conflict. Because it makes you feel bad. Less toxic intention, more positive intentions. I think if you're prioritizing someone's needs over your own, solely because you genuinely, sincerely just, you know, get happiness from doing things from others, I think that's a valiant intention. Can sometimes be self-detrimental, but that's another topic. But I'm talking about those who say they're people pleasers, but I feel like their intents are more selfish than they want to come off as. Okay, and back to what I was saying, like, to what extent will you go to please somebody? You know? Like, let's say I was an auntie of this particular group or person, and then in order to appease me, I don't know, you agree with my opinions, and you also insult this person, and, like, you know, you change your opinions just to appease me. How would that other person feel about that? Or in a more common way is lying to someone, telling a white lie to avoid hurting them. Like, you know, is, like, dishonesty justified in that case? Yeah, I need passionate soul here. Like, one could say, oh, you know, being dishonest is wrong. Lying is wrong. You should always be honest. But then, like, when you get into the complicated situation of, but I'm lying with good intentions. I'm lying to avoid conflict. And so at that point, is it justified? Is it justified? Like, is it better to be honest and hurt someone's feelings than to be dishonest and spare their feelings? You know, it's like a gray area. I think facing your fear can be helpful, but only in a safe space, which is not a given. Safe spaces must be actively sought out and maintained with updated reality checks, but once a safe space is utilized with a guide, be it professional, mental health counselor, or even a good friend who's willing to listen, a process of facing, understanding, moving past old fears and holding patterns can begin. I love that. I feel like that could be the opening paragraphs to your thesis. Sometimes white lies are necessary, though. Like, not all truth needs to be said. That's true. It's very situational. It's very contextual. You have to use your nunchis, your judgment, right? Sometimes giving, like, the full honest truth is not the best way to do things. But then, because it's such a gray area, like, at what point do we draw the line? At what point do we draw the line? Is the line subjective? You know? Okay, here, I'll give you an example. Let's say I really didn't like Twice. Or sorry, let's say I love Twice and you didn't like Twice at all. You for some reason you hate Twice. Just imagine, it's a hypothetical scenario, right? But I don't want to get into a conflict with you. Like, I don't want to straight up tell you, oh yeah, I actually don't agree with you. I love Twice, you know, I think they're amazing. But see, I don't want to get into a conflict with you. I don't want to let you feel let down. I want your approval, right? So I lie and I say, oh yeah, you know, I also hate Twice. You know, and I agree with you just to appease you. And then behind your back, I go to Twice concerts. And I lied to you. You asked me, hey, like, what are you doing today? Let's hang out. I'm like, oh, sorry, I gotta like wash my car or some shit. And I'm secretly going to a Twice concert. At that point, yeah, you're kind of avoiding, you know, hurting their feelings, but you're also straight up lying to them. You know? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? If the white lie you're telling is trying to protect anyone other than the person you are telling it to, I imagine that's where it's probably wrong. Lie you're telling is trying to protect anyone. So even yourself? Why would you want to please a Twice hater? Well, let's say they're Tyler, you know, they're hot, they got a six-pack. You know, like you want to marry this guy, so you'll just appease him for his approval. I tried to gaslight myself into thinking things they did that I wasn't comfortable with was okay because they weren't big things, but it kept happening, so over time I realized I was allowing too much to slide and recently made boundaries, and I'm proud because at that point what would be too much? When something huge happened, when all these red flags were there, I like that for you, Orbu. I'm proud of you, and I hope you keep that up. We love character development. Depends on the situation. Yeah, and in some cases, I know this was an extreme hypothetical, but you know, this kind of analogy can be applied to a lot of situations. And I think it's very easy for the people pleaser in this situation to think they are in the right to be dishonest. They're in the right to act the way they did. Because, you know, oh, you know what, this person, you know, they hate Twice, and if they know I'm going to a Twice concert, I'm not going to have their approval, and, you know, I'm going to hurt their feelings. So I'm just going to straight up lie and say I'm washing my car today instead of going to a Twice concert. I know, this whole situation is messed up. But consider, like, a more ambiguous, a more gray variation of that analogy. Right? And so, I guess the question I'm posing is... well, several different questions. One, like, is this type of people-pleasing unhealthy? If so, why? And also, is transparency always necessary for a good relationship? When your life is riddled with white lies, it can be difficult to fully embrace your own power, that thing that makes you you, that no one else can do better. You should write a book, Lotus. I think if your lie leads to you lying more, it's a bad lie. Like, if you like Twice but you say you also hate Twice and you go to a concert sneaky, beaky, and breaks trust. Is this scenario for a couple or friends? It could be for any kind of relationship. Any kind of relationship. And I guess another question that I'm posing to you, chat, is... would you want to know the truth even if it hurts you? Like, this is kind of unrelated, but I was playing Lost Ark when it came out, and there was a scenario in which you as the protagonist, okay, had to decide, are you going to lie to this little boy and say, oh, you know, your parents are alive out there, they're just like, you know, they're far, far away, and, you know, they miss you, but they can't see you right now. But, you know, someday they'll see you again. Or will you tell them the truth and tell them that their parents died? In this game, you had to choose. Like, are you going to be honest and break this little kid's heart? Or lie? Lost Ark lore. I'm an extreme advocate for truth. I think a good example would be telling a lie to... a friend about what another friend said about them behind their back in order to prevent a fight or keep the one friend from getting hurt. That's something I feel like the person would have a right to know, and hiding will only end up hurting everyone in the end. It's situational. It's like, what is this thing that the other friend said, and is it like part of their personality, or is it just like a one-off kind of thing? Is it a misunderstanding, or is it like, is this part of their personality? Sneaky beaky. Is Lost Ark the dinosaur game? No. It's an MMORPG, like MapleStory, but in 3D. I feel like you're all my friends. Yes, that's the beauty of this community. Is a very friendly, welcoming, open-minded community. One nuance to this is that sometimes it's hard to tell the truth in a way that the other person can accept and learn from. It is? It's a very gray area. Did you tell the kid that his parents were dead? I chose not to. I chose not to. The kid was so young and, you know, so hopeful. I didn't want to crush his dreams and, you know, dampen his will to live so early on. There's a way to tell the truth in a hurtful way and less hurtful way. Oh, you guys all told the kid? Heartless, all of y'all. But yeah, that goes back to the overarching question of, like, when is it okay to not be honest, and like to what extent of people pleasing is not okay. There are some people I know or have come across in life where, like, they will prioritize other needs over theirs to an extreme extent. To an extent where they themselves are unhappy. And they're not forming any genuine relationships with anybody because all they're doing is being a yes man and just saying yes to everyone. They got their foot in like 7 different boats, you know? They're trying to appease everybody. And you know what they say? Somebody who is everybody's friend is nobody's friend. When you try to appease everybody for their approval, I feel like at that point, like, are all your relationships fake at that point? Is anything genuine anymore? Like, you're just doing all these things because you want to make them happy, but it's not because you really wanted to do them. And I think that's one of the downsides of being a people pleaser, having that kind of personality. Is, one, it can be hard to sustain. 2, it's not always genuine. 3, I think a lot of unspoken resentment gets built up sometimes from that. And yeah, you're living for somebody else and not for yourselves. Personally, I appease people when I know that the other person will not change their mind due to stubbornness, or if it is in a professional setting. I think that's different. I think that's more compromising than people-pleasing. Especially if in a professional setting. I don't think that should count as people-pleasing. Well, I mean, depends with what information you gave me. I would say that counts for more compromising. Counterpoint to what I just shared, some people are ready to hear things that a person with the information may not be ready to share. Sometimes it is worth considering whether or not a person has the right to withhold the truth. Yeah, all of this is very contextual, situational. We're trying to talk about it in a very, like, a blanket statement kind of way, which is impossible with this kind of scenario. But like, I don't have any specific examples I can share, so we can only talk about it in this way. When a relationship isn't genuine, it's almost doomed to fail eventually. Absolutely. The thing is, like, when you put other people's needs above your own, it subconsciously builds up. Like, you think you're just pushing that aside, being like, okay, you know what, I'll sacrifice myself this time for what they want to do instead. But that builds up. That doesn't just, like, disappear into the void. That stays in your brain cells. And it builds up, trust me. It builds up to the point where you explode. Whether, like, on someone else or, like, internally on yourself. Okay, when you never live for yourself and you deny yourself of your own needs, when you keep doing that, that builds up and that shows itself eventually. Like, you can keep avoiding conflict and avoiding confrontation forever, but that always backfires in some way. Trust. Bread, too many food questions. Because when you're people pleasing others, you're what? Denying yourself, right? You're choosing them over yourself. And what does that do to you? What does that do to your self-esteem? What does that affect the relationship you have with yourself? Because there is a relationship there. And it does things to you. I know when I kept trying to make other people happy, I did it because I wanted their approval. I didn't want conflict. I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to disappoint them because I would feel bad about myself as an individual. Okay? But at the end of the day, it was my self-esteem that suffered. I learned that I could not trust myself. I could not rely on myself. I could not depend on myself. So it was all very, very toxic. Self-importance is important to learning how to really love someone else. After all, how can a person love another if they don't love themselves? Speaking of people pleasing, where can chat get some fresh and healthy food to please their stomachs? Well, if you look in the bottom left corner of my stream, you'll see a HelloFresh promo code. So make sure to use my link and go to hellofresh.com or use code POGHAVEFUN, POGHF 31893 for 21 free meals plus free shipping. HelloFresh is delicious, worth the money, and saves you money from grocery shopping. I vouch for it. I support HelloFresh, and this supports me. This has been a message from our sponsors. Okay. Back to the topic at hand. Oh, the sound didn't play. Why didn't the sound play? Okay, here. You know what? Okay, Cowboy Mage, I'm gonna do the sound for you. Damn! You know what dailies I have to do? I do. Anyways, all of that just to make you guys think. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, it depends on what your motive is, right? When you're doing things out of intention to people please, is it just doing it for yourself, or are you actually doing it so somebody else can be happy? Yo. Thank you for the Prime sub, Z-Train. Yo, I didn't know you streamed Maple. Thank you for your twice Twitter service. Hi, Tofu GMS. I've been streaming for some time now, but yes, I have retired from Stan Twitter. It got too toxic for me. I just enjoy Twice on Twitch now and play some Maple Story with all my friends here. And thank you for remembering me from Stan Twitter days. And I brought this topic up because it can be very, very ambiguous depending on the situation, right? Like, both the people pleaser and the person who is pleased can argue, oh, like, no, like, your intentions were disingenuous, like, you know what, like, they could each argue why they were in the right and the other person was in the wrong. Like, and the people pleaser could be like, but you know, I wanted to do it to avoid a conflict. You know, I was doing it for you. I was doing it to spare your feelings. And they're like, yeah, but I don't appreciate that you lied to me, you know? It's like, it's a very gray area. Stan Twitter is something to ignore. Stan, they're too toxic. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Lotus, for gifting 3 subs. Hog, 3 subs. The overlays are overlaying. All good, all good. That was only point 2 of what I wanted to talk about. It's a very gray scenario. Like, dishonesty is bad, yes, but also being too too hurtful with the truth is also not good. There's a balance, right? There's a way to tell the truth without being dishonest, two, without hurting their feelings. There's a way to do that. Gotta be tactful, yes. It's the effort that counts, I find. It's the effort that counts. May you all live long and prosper. Thank you, Lotus. In my eyes, okay, in my eyes, I personally do not want any kind of relationship with anybody who's just there to people please me. Okay? I want a genuine relationship. I want a genuine connection. I don't want anybody to have to tiptoe around me, or worse, lie to my face because they think telling me the truth is going to hurt my feelings. No. I will take it all. Personally, that's what I like. That's what I like. And I just think if you lie about this thing just to make me happy, what else are you lying about? You know, I'd rather... I crave transparency. I want that transparency every single time. Especially as an anxious person, as someone with anxiety, among other things, transparency is so important to me. Honesty and transparency. Knowing that I'm with somebody who's going to be honest with me, I prefer that 10 out of 10 times. Maybe that's why the girl wants Tyler and not Jimmy. Is it people-pleasing behavior if I offer you a Helix carry? Depends on your intentions. If you're genuinely just offering to be helpful, no, it's not people-pleasing behavior. If your friend had an ugly baby and they asked you if their baby was pretty, how would you answer that? How ugly are we talking about? I wouldn't go out... Wait, listen. Remember, there's a way to be truthful without being hurtful. Okay? So first of all, if I wanted to be honest, I wouldn't just be like, oh, yeah, baby, your baby's like fugly, man. Like, what the fuck's wrong with her face? Like, yes, that's one way to say it, but I can also say, oh, you know, I think your baby's got character. You know, I really like this feature on your baby. Like, put out a specific feature. I like the way the ears look just like yours. You know, I love the way, you know, the color, the eye color's just like yours. You know. Okay, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways. Okay. And I would like to believe that if this baby was truly ugly, who I'm friends with would also recognize that and not be blind. And they would not go out of their way to ask people, is my baby cute? Is my baby pretty? When they know they're not the best looking. It's got great personality. Listen, there is a way to not be completely honest, but also not lie. Be like, oh yeah, like your baby's so adorable. Oh my god, like it's gonna be an idol when they grow up. You know, there's a way. There's a way. Gaslighting your hypothetical friend. Tell them the baby looks just like them. I love that. I love that. But yes. I think as long as you're not trying to be deceitful, it's okay. Yes, there are like, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I think the baby's gonna be really cute when they grow up, but you know, right now they haven't really settled into their skin folds and stuff. You know? Cause, okay, when it comes to babies, right? You don't gotta be super, super cute to be a cute baby. Babies are just cute by default. Most times. If a baby was if I truly thought a baby was ugly, like they really look deformed, I would think that the mom would see it too. Okay? Your baby looks like Shrek. Yeah. I would rather, like, if I had a really, really ugly baby, right? If I had a really ugly baby, first of all, I would acknowledge it. I'm not blind. I'm not delusional. I would know that my baby looks ugly, okay? And I would not put my friends in the position, in the pressureful position of having to lie to me and tell me my baby's cute when it's not really cute yet, okay? But if I was truly, delusional and I asked around and asked my friends, like, how cute is my baby? I would want them to tell me the truth. I would want to hear the truth. Just not in a cruel way. Just not in a cruel way. How do you tell if a baby is ugly, though? Like, I think when a baby is just born, when they're a newborn out of the womb, they're usually kind of ugly, They take a few days or weeks to really settle into their skin. Okay. But generally, like, unless there's some major, like, deformation, I think most babies are just cute by default. Like, evolutionary-wise, they have to be cute, right? One person's ugly can be another person's beauty. I can call a child beautiful, right? Because I think beauty is more than skin deep. But as to call them, like, super cute looking, I feel like that's a stretch. Babies need a few days to ripen before being shown off to relatives. Like, legit, newborn babies, like, covered in placenta and blood and, poop. It's just, they're not very cute. They're not very cute, objectively. Really, I mean, everybody should know that, right? Oh. Newborns have cone heads, I'm telling y'all. Newborn babies have very squishy skulls, apparently. I think it's called like a fontanelle or something. Anyway, if you ever touch like a baby's scalp, like the top of their skull, it's soft and squishy. Yeah, the skulls are very malleable, and it's kind of strange. It's horrifying, isn't it? I've never heard of newborns being covered in poop, I'll be honest. I think it happens more often than you think. Okay? A lot of the times when giving birth, moms will they will uncontrollably, unintentionally poop. They will poo as they give birth. Sometimes the hole just loosens up and the sphincter loses control and then they just poo all over the bed and the baby. It happens. I'm telling you guys, childbirth is unpleasant and unattractive, and I don't know why anybody would want to go through with it. Yeah, so be grateful to your wife, to your sister, to your mom. Just appreciate them, okay? I have seen some very ugly babies, to tell you the truth, but I will never tell their moms. And you don't gotta. There's no reason to be that honest when it's uncalled for. Did I stay a little too long? I appreciate you staying this long because I know that you said you were just stopping by. Going to tell my mother I'm thankful she gave birth to me. I think I said this before on stream, but when it was my birthday, my day to be born, to be unleashed into the world, I did not turn around. I refused to turn around. You're supposed to the baby's supposed to turn around so the head comes out first, right? That's the healthy way of coming out. No, I was like, fuck that shit. Like, I refused to turn around. I was sticking my toes out, okay? It was like, ain't no way you're gonna birth me, okay? And they C-sectioned her and I still came out, but I was resistant. I fought hard. I fought hard to not come into this world, okay? I knew what a shit time I was gonna have. But, I'm here now, so I'm trying to make the best of it. But let the record be shown. I did not go down without a fight. Okay? Thanks for pooping on me, Mom. Mom, did you cover me in poop when you gave birth? Sometimes being too honest is just you being an asshole. Being honest where you weren't asked to be honest, and being honest and just giving a really cruel opinion, that's not nice at all. That's hilarious and sad at the same time. Right? That's my whole life, basically. Hilarious and sad. Tell your parents you are grateful for them while you still have the opportunity. It goes way too fast. Sadly. Unfortunately. You know what? Tell your homies that you love them. Tell your friends you love them. Okay? You never know what's gonna be your last time. Not to make it sound morbid, but you literally never know. Unsolicited honesty is not good. It depends, like, what is your intention with being honest? What is your intention by going out and saying, oh, you look really fat today? Or like, oh, you look really ugly today. Your baby looks ugly. Like, what is your intention for saying that? You know? All depends on the intention, right? Alright, this goes into my next point. Also, did you guys want to change the scenery or change the Maple Story background music? Is this too happy for y'all? Because this is just like pure unadulterated happy music. I have a nephew who, as a baby, appeared to have been electrocuted by sticking a fork into a socket. Very cartoon-like. He is fine now. You know, some babies just start off as ugly ducklings, but then, you know, they grow into their skin and bones. Something more melancholy? Linear slime trees of vibe. Okay, let me take you to a very nostalgic place. Cause yeah, I think this is way too happy. This is way too happy. Is it here? Oh, this song is so nostalgic. An important question to ask yourself is, what is gained by sharing your opinions? Opinions are like a-holes. Everybody has them. And some people have too. When we talked about getting pooped on at birth to the stream recap for people who missed stream, they're gonna be very confused. Yeah, some people have too. You didn't know that? Okay, who has 2 assholes in chat? Hands up. I don't know. I don't have 2, okay? Okay, Toksu has 2 assholes. Everybody please direct your questions to Toksu. One to eat, one to poop. Strange. Okay, anyways. What if you don't have any? You gotta make one. You gotta make one. Oh, did I mess up my hair? I might have. This is meant to be shared on Google Forms. Okay, similarly to the last topic. Do you think transparency is something that's a necessity in any kind of relationship, or do you think it's not necessary? There's probably a Reddit thread somewhere that discusses this at length. Because, like, everybody looks for different things in any type of relationship, right? Define transparency. Having, like, being able to trust somebody. Just being able to trust somebody. Do you think that's a necessity in every kind of relationship? Or do you think it's okay sometimes in some relationships to not have that? By relationship, I don't just mean romantic relationship. I mean any kind of relationship with any other human on this planet. Okay? Because for me, transparency is absolutely necessary. For just personally for me, and I know some people value it less, but I value it like an incredible amount. Partly because of my personality, just the way I am as a person. I need that full trust in order to see somebody as like beyond a surface level acquaintance. Not in professional or certain family relationships. Okay, I get that. And I was thinking, like the standards I project onto other people are subjective, right? But I wonder what's considered something that's more universal. Like, yes, I prefer people who, I don't know, who play MapleStory, for example, right? That's a very subjective preference, right? So I'm wondering, is this craving transparency thing also a subjective preference? Is this something that's not really necessary just universally? Transparency, spilling your guts at the first meeting is not always conducive to establishing bonds, but knowing when to share relevant bits about yourself for the sake of full disclosure is what I prefer. Obviously, transparency with discretion. Obviously, no, telling somebody everything about yourself at your very first meeting is just awkward. Okay, you haven't built the rapport yet. But is it fair to assume that if somebody is not transparent with me, if somebody consistently avoids any talk of substance with me, if they avoid being honest with me like all the time, is it fair to assume that they don't want to pursue any kind of genuine relationship with me at all? Is it fair to assume that? And am I fair to assume that there's somebody who I shouldn't put too much effort into, and somebody who I will never vibe with? Is it fair to assume that? Is it a difference in personality, or is it immaturity, straight up immaturity? Because like some things, like, oh, my preference for strawberry ice cream versus your preference for chocolate ice cream, that's hella subjective. That's just a difference in personality. That has nothing to do with maturity levels. Sometimes people just make small talk because they are afraid to open up. Then that's fair. For like acquaintances and coworkers and classmates, obviously there doesn't have to be any kind of trust established or any kind of transparency or authenticity. But for those who don't try to establish that with me, am I fair to assume that they're not somebody I should put too much effort into? Or somebody who they don't want any kind of deeper relationship with me at all. They just want to stay surface level at all times. If they're not truthful to you, they already set their boundaries that, okay, you can only reach this part of my life. Yeah, so in that case, I should just probably back off and spend my energy elsewhere, right? It is fruitless and it is unnecessary and not right to keep trying, right? Like I would assume that they've set a boundary by acting that way, right? If someone has agreed to be more than friends and keep their shields up, then they might be using you for their own reasons. This is from experience that I share this. Okay, so if somebody wants to get real close to you, but they keep their guards up and they keep their shields up and they refuse to be fully honest with you, then you're saying that they're using you for their own reasons. This can depend on you because some people like me will soon open up even though I have already set my boundaries. It's not really about opening up your inner, deepest, darkest secrets. It's just, transparency. Okay, how do we define transparency? Transparency doesn't mean that you have to show them every single part of you. Transparency just means that you don't intentionally hide certain things. And that you're able to act comfortably with them. You can tell when somebody's intentionally trying to hide. And in those scenarios, I'm really uncomfortable with that energy. I would say match their energy and only share as much as they do. No need to discard them completely. Yeah, that's fair. I guess no person is required to be transparent with you, but if that's what you want from a partner or friend and the other person won't give that, you're more than within reason to not continue it. It's nothing against the other person. It just might need not meant to work out, and you each need different people. Yeah. So, for example, right? So going back to defining transparency, I just mean if you call them up and say, "Hey, do you want to come to the grocery store with me right now?" No, they can be like, actually, that's not a good example. But just like very simple everyday things. Are they going to be truthful about what they say, or are they going to lie to you? You know? Going back to that whole people pleasing concept. Transparency doesn't have to mean like I know everything about you. It's just I will know that if I need you to be honest, you will be honest with me. And you'll be honest with me about the things that I care about and that are important. And that you won't lie to me over things that I don't see coming. I guess you have to ask them if they're willing to be open to you in the future. No, I don't really mean that. I think you can build a lifelong trusting relationship with someone even without knowing anything about their past. Really. I think you can build that trust with someone without knowing everything about them. It's just, you know, like I said, if you know that there's somebody who will be honest with you about the things that you care about, I think that's what matters. You need to know where each other's boundaries are. Like for me, like there's friends I have who I completely trust. I trust them with my life. And it's not because they've opened up their whole life story to me or I know everything about them. Some of these friends, I trust them wholeheartedly, and yet I know so little about them. It's just because of the way they presented themselves to me, the way they act around me, and just how honest they come off as people, that I know that I can trust anything they say. Hi, passionate soul. You know, so it's not necessarily about the quantity of how much they open up to you. It's just like whether, like in your interactions, are they honest? Are they honest? Yeah, exactly. Simple honesty in everyday things can go a long way. But if I know that you're the type of person who you'll lie to me over the smallest things, like, you know, I'll be like, hey, you want to go grocery shopping with me? And then you'll go like, oh, I'm actually kind of sick. And then I find out you're not sick. Okay, well, that's such a small thing. You could have just said you didn't want to go. You know, or like if I don't know, it's like everyday small simple things. Like if you don't even trust me to be able to accept your answer without getting angry, like how am I supposed to trust you when it comes to the important things? You know? Trust goes both ways. And if you're lying to me, if you're making up excuses and you're lying to my face to, I don't know, avoid hurting my feelings, to avoid a certain kind of reaction from me, that says to me that you don't trust me. Okay? So how am I supposed to trust you? Personal experience honesty should always be delivered with kindness, but more importantly, it works both ways. Yep. Transparency is nice in a situation where you can share and relate in a matter that comes up naturally. Conversation doesn't need to happen right away, and it's not like you're guarding it. You can share, bond, and be honest without sharing every detail of your life either. Yeah. And conversely, there are people who have told me their life stories, and I know everything about them, but I don't fully trust them. So it's not about how much you know about somebody, right? This is just about like how genuine your interactions are. Like if I asked you to hang out with me, like go grocery shopping with me, whatever, like bake with me, and you make up some fucked up excuse, you lied to me to avoid hurting my feelings, when really are you just doing it for yourself to avoid looking bad? Like if you lie to me and I find out, how am I going to trust you going forward? I'd rather you tell me, oh, I don't feel like it today. Feeling kind of lazy. Let's just do another day, bro. Be like, okay, sure. That makes for such a much better friendship. So is it maturity or a difference in personality? I'm asking, like, is this about maturity, or is this, you know, just different ways of viewing the world? I'm genuinely curious because, you know how I view the world, and I'm genuinely curious if people see it differently. If people think that relationships can be founded on even without trust and transparency and genuineness. Like, can you be really that close with someone when you don't have that trust? And maybe you can, but I want to understand. I want to know from a different perspective. It happened to me where I was head over heels for this one person for quite a while. When I finally caught their attention, I was the fifth wheel and the cat who didn't respect their relationship with someone else. After we started a relationship, I was like a puppy begging for a squeaky toy, and they were basically absent when we were together. This is a cringe moment, but I would always ask what they were thinking. They never really opened up to me. It was a shit show. Sounds like a complicated situation. Avoiding confrontation, over pleasing, not caring about the other person's feelings, not caring at all, being inconsistent with priorities. I saw a tea bag that said, when you act in compassion, you are never wrong. This might be overgeneralization, but not a bad direction to head towards. Yeah, like, you can say that you lied about being sick just to avoid doing grocery shopping with me. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, like, first of all, why did you feel like you had to lie to me? And second of all, what else could you be lying about if you lied over this? Then third of all, like, are you really being compassionate in your intentions, or is there something else going on? Like once you lie a few times, it's gonna really make the other person question your character. It doesn't matter what you're lying about if your intentions are good. Like, as soon as that, the lie is out there, it'll definitely strain the relationship. And remember, okay, being truthful doesn't mean being cruel, okay? You can tell the truth and be transparent, but not in a cruel way, okay? Remember, don't tell your friend their baby's ugly and you hate their face, okay? That level of truthfulness is not necessary. It does nobody any good, okay? Okay? But you also don't have to tell them, oh, I think your baby's like so adorable. I think like you can put in a baby pageant and it'll win, Like, just, use your tact, use your discretion. It's a bit of both. It's generally about people who don't understand how to build trust or how to prioritize someone else. Add in a bit of being bold enough for telling someone you don't want to spend time with them. Yeah. Like, are you afraid to say it because secretly you feel like... Is that feeling coming from a place of like, oh, I just don't like you and I don't like hanging out with you? Or is it coming from a place of, oh, no, I love you, but I'm just genuinely just so tired today. I don't want to hang out. Because if it's the latter, if it's like, oh, I still care about you, I just don't want to hang out, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But if it's coming from a place of, oh, I'm just pretending to like you, but I secretly hate you a lot, I never like hanging out with you, and then it's like, oh, I'm sick, I don't want to hang out today, that comes off as very malicious. All it takes is one wrong decision to break decades of trust. Yeah, trust is very fragile. It's very fragile. Also, when honesty is delivered with kindness, it always ends up opening up confidence to talk about difficult topics. It takes time, sure, but it's worth it. Yeah. Yeah, when you are honest with me, like, it makes me have so much more respect for you. It's like, if you have the balls to say, I don't really want to hang out today, but it's not that I don't like you, I'm not feeling up for it, let's schedule another day. That makes me feel like I can fully trust you and talk about anything with you. I can't tell if your baby is ugly or not, but it still has some of its mother's poop on them. Yeah. So because I'm still growing and learning about the world, I'm really just starting to be myself these years. I've gotten to my share of hard talks, hard conversations, and conflicts, sort of. Just because I've avoided conflict all my life. Now I'm finally starting to face some real conflict. And I'm learning from them. I learned that sometimes my standards is unrealistic. Sometimes I realized my standards were a little too much. And sometimes I realize that my standards are too low, or it's either just a difference in personalities. It's nobody's fault, or it's something I have to let go of. Okay, and not every relationship is worth saving. And it's okay to let go of someone and not hold anything against them. Sometimes it's a difference in personality, or maturity, whatever. And I'm learning to not try to control people. I don't do it anymore. I don't do it nearly as much anymore. I don't try to change people's actions and behaviors and the way they act towards me. So in that way, I'm getting a little more mature over time. I like to think. It seems like people will lie or hide things to avoid conflict or potential low moments, but those moments have to happen if you're ever going to grow or move on in a relationship. Conflict is usually inevitable, and the more you push off and lie about stuff like that, it's just eventually going to lead to an explosive end. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't go through an entire relationship avoiding conflict the entire time. Conflict, I believe, is necessary. It is necessary to make any relationship stronger, because it is unrealistic. It is so unrealistic to expect that you'll be good with someone without going through any conflicts. It's just so unrealistic. Yes, and not every relationship is worth saving, definitely. I'm learning that. Sometimes the friendship runs its course and you both just go your separate ways. Absolutely. Some people are just here for a chapter in your life. They're here for like a page and they're not here to stay. For any friendship or relationship, the sooner you figure out what sort of synergy, commonalities, the more quickly you can judge what type of relationship you can have with an individual or a group. And I think I've been in denial for a while. You know me, I like to keep everybody around. I like to keep everybody and everything around in life. I'm a hoarder. So I used to think, maybe I should just try harder. If I try harder, then I can save this relationship. If I try harder, I can make this person understand my worldview. If I just try a little bit harder, if I just don't give up, eventually they'll come around. But I'm realizing that sometimes you just have to accept when things are out of your control and when things are just not meant to be at all. And I'm learning more about myself along the way, and just learning about what my values in life are. And the more I learn about myself, the more I realize what kind of people I vibe with and who I don't vibe with. And I think when I discovered that when our core values are different, there's no changing that. There's no amount of getting close to them or doing things for them, people pleasing them. No amount of that is gonna create chemistry or, make you guys get along. Some people just suck. Yeah, and some people just suck. I'm lazy and have the opposite view. I take more of a who do I have the best compatibility with approach to life. And you know what? That's perfectly healthy. I think as I get older, I will be more focused on those who I'm just straight up compatible with, instead of spending so much time and energy trying to convince people otherwise. Telling them, you need to approve me, okay? If I work harder, you'll approve me and I'll feel good about it. No. People's actions are rooted in their base values. Absolutely. For example, you know how much I value transparency. If I meet somebody who they think, you don't have to be honest all the time. It's okay to lie and cheat and steal, and, in some situations it's justified, And if they fail to really convince me, I just need to walk away. I just need to walk away from people like that. It's okay to have lots of acquaintances. It takes some experience to figure out who are really going to be good, better, best friends for you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm at a point in life where, yes, I am just letting anybody and everybody in. But also I'm learning and trying to learn about different perspectives, so I can better choose my inner circle in the future. Return back to Maple Story. Compatibility is worth looking for even if you are not sure. What bugs me is hearing things like, I won't date musicians because that just cuts off a whole slew of possible connections based on generalized bias like that. Yeah, things like that. When they generalize, when somebody says something very, very immature, you're just straight up rude and cruel. Yeah, it's time to back off, personally. Yeah, those kind of statements, those blanket statements, I won't date musicians, or I won't date a K-pop fan, and this is so close-minded. Yeah, so those were the points that I wanted to talk about today. Oh, my friend logged off. Oops. I'm a musician and a K-pop fan, Sag. I think it's important to have opinions in life and know what you stand for. I think it's so important to know who you are, and to do that, stop people pleasing and please yourself, okay? Choose yourself, okay? Be your own best friend, okay? Learn everything you can about yourself, what kind of people you like, who you vibe with, who you're compatible with, okay? It's gonna make you happier in the long run rather than just people pleasing everybody who comes your way and trying to get everybody's approval, even if they're not good for you. I'm ready to go right now. Okay, like I remember when I was like 14, I had my own Tumblr, right? Somebody asked me, "Oh, like what kind of relationship do you want? Like what kind of person do you want in a partner?" And at the time, I had no dating experience. I knew nothing, and I was a people pleaser. So I was like, "Oh, you know what? I just want somebody who will listen to me. Yeah, I just want someone who will listen to me without getting tired of me. Bare minimum standards." So I didn't know, but after years of experience, I finally realized that I don't need everybody's approval, and they don't need mine either. And I'm better off knowing what I want and picking the things that make me happy. That's sort of why enforced singlehood helps some people. Not everyone wants to face themselves and needs some of that enforced in order to get some self introspection and build up some real confidence rooted in knowing oneself. It's a part of life. Got a wardrobe. Okay, let's go shopping somewhere. You never know who might love the person you really are. And like when I was 14, right? I mean, I was basically, my personality was like this, a little more rough around the edges. Um, but yeah, I thought that if I was my true self, everybody would hate me. Like nobody would want to be my friend. Nobody wanted to get to know me. Which is not true. Which is not true. If you just do yourself, be a good person, don't hurt others, doesn't matter what you're interested in. Okay, somebody's gonna be drawn to you. Oh, I'm leader? Being yourself would be the best because you will see who will like you for you. Like, would you rather pretend to be someone else and be liked for that pretend version of you and then have to keep pretending for the rest of your life to sustain that approval? Or would you rather be yourself and meet people who have the same interests as you? Like, imagine you pretend to like Twice just to make friends with Twice fans, and the whole friendship, you're just pretending to be a once when you're not really. That sounds miserable to me. That sounds very miserable to me. How do you keep pretending how do you keep pretending to be someone you really aren't? It's good for like temporary validation, but over time it just makes you hate yourself. Trust me, I've been there. I got all the approval I wanted by putting this mask on, pretending to be someone else, like changing my whole personality just to appease people, just for their validation, right? I would pretend to be edgy, and I would pretend to be this funny, like, carefree girl, you know, who had edgy opinions. I would pretend to be like that. And yeah, it got me some friends, but I spent all my time pretending that it was so tiresome to even keep up the friendship. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be relaxed and comfortable at any moment because I was always pretending to be someone else. And you know what? It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. No. But I had to go through it to realize, because at first I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll keep a mask on, just pretend to be someone else. I just, I want the validation. I want to feel good. I want that clout, I got it, and it was not worth it at all. Yeah, it just drains all your energy. Rather be me, because at one point you will blow up. And like when you're a kid, when you're in high school, you're in this bubble, you're in this echo chamber where everybody seems to have to conform to be the cool kid. And you think, oh, they're all into basketball and soccer. I'm into like collecting bugs and chess or whatever. It's so uncool. Nobody's gonna like me. I have to change my interest to get people to like me. But then as you get older, really, just as you get older every year, you start to realize that most of them were just pretending all along. And there's actually a lot more people out there than you would expect who share your interests and who would like you exactly for you. Yeah. That's what I learned as I got older. In the beginning in college and high school, I was like, oh, I have to be a certain kind of personality or no one's gonna like me, I had these standards for myself, like these set character traits. Oh, you have to be funny, you have to be like this and that. I felt like I had to conform to fit a mold in order to be liked. I thought that if I was anything else but this mold, I would not be liked. And being liked was so important to me because I had no self-esteem. But yeah, as you get older, you start to realize, like the nerdy things that you're into, a lot of other people are into as well. And it's not that nerdy at the end of the day. And it's not that bad. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And I have so much more fun nerding out with friends with similar interests than pretending to be someone else, liking a group that I don't really like, or pretending to like a hobby I don't really like, playing a game I don't really like. It's so much easier on myself. Don't be nerdy. I did the whole goth thing in high school just for shock effect to keep people from getting too close. I had the mindset that I would rather repulse people than attract them and risk being uncomfortable or making someone else uncomfortable who might actually like me. I too had no self-esteem. High school was bad times. I did a lot of things that I regret in high school. It's very tiring to keep it up. Bye, Joyce. There are like 8 billion people in the world. You will find people that share the same interests and hobbies, especially with the internet nowadays. Back then, the internet wasn't as developed. There wasn't Discord. There wasn't like all the social media platforms. But yeah, I've learned over time that no matter how weird, strange, and abnormal you are in your eyes, okay, that is to somebody else, that is cool, that is normal, that is desirable. So don't change yourself because what you bring to the world is unique. As long as you're not hurting anyone, just don't hurt anyone, okay? Don't commit crimes and do that shit. My friend group in college doesn't have the same hobbies and likes. We're just all gay. I mean, you have that in common. There you go. Yeah. So I'm happy to say that now I'm at a point in my life where I'm not pretending to be somebody else constantly. And I've met people who like me just for me, and they would like me less if I pretended to be someone else. And I'm so glad that I met them when I did, and that I showed my true self to them. Because it made us closer. So I'm so glad I'm like over that phase in my life. And I hope that if you're in that phase, I hope you soon realize that it's not worth it. It's really just not worth it. Just indulge in the things that make you happy. Okay? Indulge in your passions and what makes you you. Okay, because they're your passions for a reason. It's who you are, right? You're born that way. Indulge in the things that make you happy, and you're just naturally gonna meet other people into the same things as you are, or people with the same mindset. The sick techno beat on your computer makes when dialing the internet. All right, I think I'm gonna get off Maple Story because I'm not doing anything on there, and I want to open up Firefox again. High school was hell. Once I found movies and my safe place, I stopped caring what people thought about my hobby of reading and film and knowledge. Yeah. I know, like, when you're younger, maybe it seems like everything, approval and validation's everything. You just have to know that you're liked. And I think that's normal. I think that's normal when you're younger. You don't have enough life experiences. You don't know yourself well enough. You haven't been in a relationship with yourself long enough to have that trust in yourself. So I mean, I get it, but I think as you get older, you naturally just realize there are more important things in life than appeasing people and getting their approval. And it is honestly one of the best feelings in the world to find people who are just like you, who share and appreciate your hobbies and interests, who just like you for exactly who you are. That is the most validating thing you could ever feel. Much more than if you pretend to be someone else and get validation from people who don't know the real you. Make Groot wave to us. Groot. Before college, your circle of people exposure is tiny. Yep. Dun, 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 dun. Watch your check. I know what they all say. They all say, "Oh, like don't mind what people think about you. Don't care about other people's opinions of you." Like everybody hears it. People always say it, but it takes life experience to really get over craving that. And yeah, it's hard not to care because we're human. Like we care. We care how we come off to other people. But at some point, I think it's important to know yourself well enough to know what you like about yourself, what you like about yourself so much that it doesn't matter what anyone says about it. It's like, do you care if, like, what if someone makes fun of you for liking Twice? Are you just gonna stop liking Twice? If someone tells you your favorite song is shit, are you just gonna stop liking it? Yeah, no, because you're confident in how you feel about Twice, and you love them, and you know why you love them, and you're proud of that. So do that with all your qualities, you know? Check out the Comic Con documentary to see some examples of people who finally find their tribe. Comic Con documentary. That's people pleaser behavior. I hate half the stuff my friends like, but I'm out here supporting them. Support is different than putting down, Judging, criticizing. If someone hates my music, I will just play it louder. Listen to Misa, find all your favorites and find people where you are their favorite. Find people where you don't have to chase for their validation. You don't have to chase for their attention, their approval. Find people who you don't have to convince to like you. Why do you have to convince people to like you? Is like that's not how it should be. Tia, gotcha. Way too many people chase what's popular or attention instead of finding what really matters to them. Like at a point in my life, like not too long ago, like I chased a certain kind of validation. I needed to feel that way. I felt like if I could attain this, it means like I have worth and value as a person. And then, I would literally put myself in a position where I'm trying to convince people to approve me. It's such a waste of time. Like if they didn't like you and you had to work to prove them, like convince them otherwise, what kind of relationship is that? Where on the other side of the fence you have people who will like you just for you. People who will not neglect you or be cruel to you, people who will be kind to you and like you just as you are. You know? Why are you wasting your attention on people who you have to chase? And like, I don't care if the world hated this song, if everybody else on this planet hated Baby Blue Love, it sounds good to me, okay? So I'm not gonna change to appease other people. I love this song. So similarly, okay, if there's a quality about you that, some people don't like, does that mean it's just a bad quality to have? Does it mean you're just gonna toss away that quality of yours? Uh, Not out of pity, but genuinely like you. Yeah, pity's a different story. There's this quote that I read on Reddit, and I think it applies in this situation. Things are things are a lot easier if you've got some self worth. Imagine this: you've got a grand, magnificent piece of art on display for anyone to see. You spend hours getting it ready each day and do your best to make sure it's in excellent condition. People stroll by, look over it quickly, and leave without showing much interest. Nobody appreciates the art piece for what it is, mainly because they don't know it like you do. So, in this scenario, would you go home and throw that art in the garbage? When people walked away unimpressed, would you kick it across the floor and flip your attitude towards it because strangers didn't appreciate it? Of course not. You'd smile, gently package the piece, and take it home to show another day. Because you know, if nobody else does, how wonderful it is. So if people don't appreciate you and decide to move on, fine. They don't see the value you have to offer. Maybe they're not the type of person who sees the values that you have, and that's fine. Whatever it may be, you don't trash treasure because other people aren't interested in it. Right? So I saved that quote because I liked it. I liked it a lot. But yeah, same concept, right? Like, let's say you had a Twice album on display and you were really proud of it. Like, you took great care of it every single day. And then people walk by, they don't appreciate it. That's on them, okay? That's not on you or Twice. That's on them. They're not seeing just because they don't see the value doesn't mean it doesn't have value, right? So similarly, why would you beat yourself up? If if you get rejected by people, if maybe there's someone you really like and they didn't see value and you didn't see the same thing and you didn't see it was important, like, does that mean you have no value? Absolutely not, right? They just don't see the value. They're missing out. So remember that, guys. Sadly, that art piece needs to tour like 50 cities to find people who appreciate it. But the people that do, like, they'll really appreciate it. Some people will appreciate you, some won't. You just have to find those that will like you. And that's just it. Like, some people out there, they could hate my favorite food, and that's so wild to me. Or they'll hate my favorite song. That's that doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean you have terrible taste. They're just different. People are different. People's brains are weird. Like, people grow up differently. Nature and nurture. Don't let other people define your worth. Basically, is what I'm saying. It's not healthy to take accountability for the way others act. You do you. Yeah, and you have no idea why they don't value it the same way you do. It might not even be for the same reasons that you assume. There could be so many factors. Just try to look on the bright side of things. One nuance to this is that I find it is healthy for a person to strive to be better for the people you care about. However, a person shouldn't solely be focused on the approval of others. Of course, it's situational. You should strive to be the best version of yourself. And if there are people you care about, okay, and if they're giving you opinions, it's good to take that into account, right? But of course, don't change just for them. Change because you agree that those opinions are good and that you should strive to be, that version of you, Do it for yourself too. You're just presenting yourself in the wrong market. Like, why would you sell a condo unit to a baby? Basically, yeah. Yeah. You could offer a penthouse to a baby and be like, what the fuck? Okay, maybe not the baby, but like a middle schooler. I remember how I got an album in gift from the US, and a relative's kids removed some pages while their parents were saying it's okay, not a big deal. But when they heard the price, they started backtracking. My parents knew how close I was to beating them. Ooh, yikes. Yikes. An ugly baby at that. And how sad would it be if somebody out there, just is looking for someone exactly like you, right? They just haven't found you yet, but they're looking for you. But you go and change your whole personality, change your whole character to appease people who don't care about you. Meanwhile, that person out there is looking for someone just like the old you, but you toss that person away. Like I know people who I liked exactly who they were before they tried to change for somebody else and became someone that they're not. And I miss that version of them. I wish they never changed. You know? What if it's a killer looking for someone like me? I mean, what if it's not? What if it's, like your toy spy is looking for someone like you? Yeah, literally, there are, like, I know people, and I can never tell it to them straight to their face. It's like, I loved the version of you before you tried to change yourself for someone else or for someone else's approval. I loved the version of you that was, like, a loser, a nerd. Like, I love the version of you that you consider to be uncool. I would have loved to have been friends with that version of you instead of this you right now. This you who's not genuine, this you who's frankly sort of an asshole. There are people like that. Just because they think, oh, this version of me is uncool, this person I'm chasing validation from isn't gonna like me, doesn't mean that you should throw away that version of you. Misa, if I may share a local memory, the first time I watched your stream, you were talking about K-pop and saying something like, I'm not going to shove K-pop down your throat, then proceeded to stream an entire K-pop music video. I was laughing because I know the feeling of getting so hyped about my interest that it's hard to imagine why people wouldn't like it. Thank you for that. No, I perfectly understand if somebody is not going to appreciate the same things I appreciate, and that's okay. But, my thinking is, how will I know if I don't try? Like, I'm not going to force you to like it, but I want to at least expose you to it and see what you think, right? And if you don't like it, even after I showed you the music video, like, that's fine. That's fine. But I want to, shoot my shot first. You kind of get the feeling that people who change like that aren't very happy because of that, like they're denying their identity. And I don't mean the people who change for the better or change because of reasons unrelated to appeasing someone else. That's fine. Like some people just change naturally over time, and that's fine. But it's when I notice that they're really not being themselves, and they're changing their entire identity just to appease someone else. I don't like that. I don't like that. In some cases, of course. In some cases. And yes, I know those personality changes can come from other places too. It's kind of sad that they would change themselves to fit a certain person. They're already lying about who they are. I don't think it would work out in the long term. If that person does end up liking the change, it seems tiring to keep up appearances. And sometimes they change for the better, and it's a great thing. But I'm saying in the situations where it's a change for, in my opinion, in my opinion, subjectively, a change for the worse. But that's just me. Maybe to them they like it more. And you know what? Sure, like you do you. Yeah. So I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter so much. What was the source? What was the reason that they changed? It's if I feel like they had something perfectly good going on and they tossed that away for something else. When I think the original version of them was perfectly fine. And but no, if they're happier now, then that's fine. You know what? That's fine. But if I see that they're still unhappy, I can't help but feel very sad for them. People will do so much to be accepted and just for that feeling of acceptance when it's sad sometimes that the acceptance was there. It was already there for you. Like you didn't have to change anything, but you did, and it's sad. You do you is a polite way of saying to someone go and duck themselves. I don't see it as that. I just see like you do whatever, like you do you. Like just you do whatever you think is you. That's how I think of it. I know I am getting tired when the typos start to flow. That's okay. It's been a long stream. I guess it's when you change for the wrong reasons and when you deny yourself the real you. For me, that is a very sad thing to see. No, of course, it's not necessarily for clout. No, one could change themselves for a variety of reasons, right? Doesn't have to be for approval, clout, or anything. But I just think you shouldn't entirely toss away what makes you you. And yes, these are the kind of talks that we have on stream sometimes, if not most times, and I love it. I say you do you to mean that I support people's voyage of self-discovery. I don't have to like it to respect the journey of someone else. Absolutely. Changing for perceived necessity. Life sucks that way. I guess what I'm saying is when you change yourself when you didn't have to. When there was a choice. Melody Project is not on this playlist. It's not on the Melody Project, but there's no Dahyun's. If the person who changes their personality to fit a certain type for someone else, do you think they'll ever revert back if they end up losing the person they were chasing after? Depends on the person. Depends how much you threw away and how much of that original you is ingrained in you, I guess. That can be tough. That can mean not moving or not accepting a promotion or higher pay. I think when it comes to work, career, the things that we can deem as very necessary in our lives, I think it's a different story. But I think when you're just doing it to appease somebody who doesn't appreciate you, I think that's a very sad situation. The reason for change has to make sense. It has to make sense. If you can make it make sense, then sure. If you can't, if it sounds ridiculous even to you when you say it out loud, I don't know if it's worth it. Yes, workplace versus personal relationships are very, very different. Very, very different. So, guys, let's watch The Last of Us on Discord. Chase them all away. I've seen enough spouses' ambition pushing their partner into some ugly situation. Ew. Already have the tab open? Yeah, today. Nice. Thank you for another great stream. Opened my mind to a lot of things today. Can't join movie nights. It's a really good episode, so try to join us if you can. Be your lighthouse. Also, I haven't looked at myself for like 2 hours. I have no idea what I look like on stream. Like, my hair could have been out of place for all I know. I mean, at this time, I really am going to try to go to bed now. Thank you, Misa and chat, for all your lovely musings and welcoming atmosphere. Good night, Lotus. Have a good night. You look pretty. Uwu? My brain hurts from opening my mind and thinking to myself so much today. I need to think of something silly now. You look like you had HelloFresh for dinner. Yes, if you like HelloFresh, again, make sure to use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use my code POGHF, POG, have fun, 31893 for 21 free meals and free shipping. This is Monsters by Dahyun of Twice. This was a good stream. I couldn't put a bunch of input because I was doing chores, but I was listening. I'm glad you liked it. My brain is always on overdrive, so I'm always coming up with hypothetical scenarios and musings and questions about the world, questions about people's opinions on the world. That's one good thing about having a hyperactive brain. Deep talk streams are always good. Yeah, you gotta get it out sometimes. Can't always be about just fun and games. Oh, where's the
Thanks you,
oh,
Misa, for another wonderful stream.
Misa.
More deep questions that I have to really think about for the next several days. Hope you enjoy your night and hopefully will use HelloFresh when I get paid. Smiling face with hearts.
Smiling face with hearts. Thank you, Jonathan. That will go towards my new PC fund slash LA trip fund slash vlog camera. There's too many things I have to say for, but thank you. I appreciate it. Smiling face with hearts. I remember those conversations when I was young and hanging out with good friends. I feel like it's not as common anymore to have talks like this with friends. Another great stream, best one yet. Thanks, Misa. May not add much to the convo, but it's nice to hear and read everyone's thoughts on these deep topics. I'm glad. I'm glad. I hope my streams are entertaining even if you don't interact much with chat. I feel like deep talks only come out with friends when they are drunk. And even then, like, how deep can they go when they're drunk? Thank you for streaming. Thank you for watching. It isn't. This is the only place where I have deep thoughts. Usually I just do dumb things with my friends. Yeah, this is, I think everybody has these thoughts. It just doesn't come out often because, like, where do you get the opportunity to talk about these kind of things? Forgot to tell you, Stop and Stare has been stuck in my head all weekend because of you. You're welcome. It is a timeless song. I think it's easier to express a deep talks here because everyone has the same interest and no one is judging. Absolutely. We cultivate the community that we want here. That's what Twitch is for. You can go watch anybody's streams. You can vibe with the people you want to vibe with, and if you resonate with what they say, you stick around and then you meet more like-minded people like that. That's the the benefits of Twitch. Best streamer, best mods, best community. Yeah. I would like to think of us as like, what's that Japanese game? The one where you spin the ball and you collect furniture and you collect objects and you grow bigger and bigger and bigger. What's it called? Katamari. I'd like to think of our community as a Katamari ball. Yeah. Those like gradually over time. Just gets bigger and bigger. Not Catherine. I want to play this. I want to play this game. Goated game. Until next time, guys. I will see you on Wednesday and Friday. And for those of you joining me in the movie channel, I will see you there. And I will stream The Last of Us for you guys. Good night, everybody.